socks that rock. I think that uses a similar base to that.
Right. If I had the choice between Colin Firth now or Patrick Dempsey now, I'd go with Patrick Dempsey.
Look, it's upside down.
Now, look, woman! I'm choosing to show it this way. They
still
do,
think he's
but
lovely.
Patrick Dempsey is lovely.
Oh. You heard it here first.
We had some time, had some grass, and do you know what? That sounds so wrong. So that's it. The treasure hunt is finished. We can now get on earnest with the new adventures of the Bakery Bears.
That's still not right.
Get on in earnest with...
And then the last couple of things that I've got, let me just rearrange myself.
Way! Well, hello.
Hello.
It's time for the Bakery Bears. Yippee! Well, what a 2 weeks. Goodness me, it seems like a lifetime.
Does it?
Well, it really does.
It does seem a while
So
ago.
much has happened. But first of all, thank you all so much for the absolutely wonderful comments and feedback with regards to our new adventures.
Oh, yeah.
I can't believe, actually, that it feels like... It really does feel like a lifetime since we filmed that new adventures
It was
to
a
Bakery
while that we
Bears.
filmed it ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
And we're just absolutely thrilled. You never know, moments of nerves and whatever, because you just don't know if you've quite nailed it, even though, it's hard to be objective, isn't it?
Yes.
When you look back at something. So just thrilled that you all enjoyed it, and don't you worry, they will be back soon.
They will.
Today, though, is all about finishing off our treasure hunt.
Oh, yes.
And this is quite an epic episode, because this is the episode when I shall utter the words, "That is the nicest thing I've ever put in my mouth." I never thought I would see the day when I would say that live on the show.
It was absolutely delicious.
And what are we talking about? Well, you're going to have to watch.
Yeah.
You're going to have to watch to find out. But it is a journey of epic proportions through two of our most favourite destinations and a brand new destination.
Yeah.
And a culmination of the most wonderful thing ever. So you will see all that later on. And of course, Knitability issue 2 came out when we put our last episode out. And thank you all so much for your excitement around that too. It is just the best. I think I've read that interview with Susan Claudino about 3 times.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Because it is quite long.
Well, no,
which is wonderful.
It's brilliant. I was enthralled. She did such a fantastic job.
She really did. Now, I have realised, and you maybe gathered this some time ago, maybe a year or so ago. Whoops.
I've totally dropped my needle, and there's a stitch hanging.
Oh, that's okay. I think even I could
no.
fix that.
Where's the needle?
I don't know.
God.
It's all gone wrong. This is a disaster.
This
Here's
is
the
a
needle.
disaster. I daren't move my knitting.
I can find it. I
Have
think
you
I
got
can
it?
fix that. Do you want some help?
Oh, no.
Are you sure you're okay?
I'm okay.
Because I'm sure I could help.
Oh, I rescued it.
Thank goodness.
Panic over.
Panic over.
Oh.
Yes, you may have realised about maybe a year ago, maybe 15, 20, maybe even 40 episodes ago, what precisely am I doing with Bryony? Turning her into...
What?
Well,
What do you mean?
I'm turning her
I
into
can't
someone that the boys are going to love. Because
well, that's never a good thing, is it?
she loves Star Wars and she knows all about it. Although maybe boys will be intimidated by her knowledge.
Maybe they would.
So actually, this is a good plan.
Maybe they would.
She's superb at Lego.
Yeah.
And now, I've just given her her first American football lesson.
You did.
What precisely am I playing at? Let me just tell you, it was the business.
Yeah.
We had such fun. She was learning how to be a quarterback and she was throwing the ball with spiral. She had her fingers on the stitches, giving it a nice spin, and it was great.
Is she the right... She's tall. Is that good for a quarterback?
Well,
it's not, is it really?
Is
it?
Tall and
Quarterback's
stocky
Oh,
for a
right,
quarterback
okay.
is
Well,
exactly
maybe
what you
she
want.
is then.
You
Maybe
want someone.
Because she's tall and she's well built, so... Yeah.
And I always, when I was at school, I always aspired to be a wide receiver. So it's just been...
You played American football at
No,
school?
I would have loved to have been a wide receiver.
Right.
I had to play rugby because we didn't play American football. And I would have loved to have played that position. So it's been brilliant because what I'm able to do is, most people want to be the quarterback, don't they? And I'm cool with not being the quarterback. So I play centre, flick it back to her, and I run downfield and she throws it to me.
No idea what you're talking about. What's a wide receiver? What do they do? Do they go wide and then receive?
Jerry Rice? You know Jerry Rice? You don't know who Jerry Rice was?
No.
Oh my goodness. But you knew American football.
I did,
years
yeah,
ago.
but I've never heard that name.
Did Jim McMahon you knew, didn't you?
No.
Oh no. Who did you know?
I don't know.
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, I remember him.
And they had Mark Duper and Mark Clayton up either side.
I used to go to school with somebody called Mark Clayton.
Right.
It wasn't him.
On either side, wide receivers. They're called wide receivers because they're wide out on the pitch.
Right.
And they run down the pitch and they catch the ball.
So they're
when
the
it
ones
gets
that
thrown
run a lot.
Well, no, that would be the running back.
Oh, right, okay.
But the wide receiver goes wide and runs straight down.
Down the edges?
Yes.
Right.
But sometimes they cut in, they'll do a slant.
Are they allowed to score?
That they're supposed to score.
Oh, okay.
So I'm playing wide receiver. I snap the ball back, I run. And do you know what? We didn't have one pass dropped. No, that sounds like it was me. It really wasn't me. She was throwing me beautiful passes. Because I had the easy job, didn't I? Because there was no one else to play against. So it wasn't like I had to avoid it. Yeah, there's only us two. But she really enjoyed it, which was just so great. And I got this American football a while ago, and it's just been sat in the back of the car. And we had some time, had some grass, and do you know what? That sounds so wrong.
Had some time, had some grass, chilled out.
And it was the best thing I ever put in my mouth ever. Oh my goodness. What's going on?
Shocking. Grass that grows in the ground.
There was a field which we could play in. Whoops. And whilst all that's been going on, poor Kay has had a bit of a strained wrist.
Oh gosh.
So it's really affected her knitting time.
I don't know what I've done to my wrist. It is getting better, but probably for about a week now. And it's my right wrist, which is the one really that I'm right-handed, so it does all the work. And it's across here, and it's when I move my hand back like that, it kills all down here. It really hurts all down here. I've no idea what I've done. I really don't. So I'm just.
But it's getting better.
It's getting better, and I've switched my projects to wooden
She's been
needles.
resting lots, so don't worry.
And I haven't been knitting as much, unfortunately. But, what can you do? It's just been very, very frustrating,
And then, throw into all of that, I decided to eat 4,000 tangerines and make myself unbelievably sick.
Dan wasn't very well at all. And I'd only said to you, you like eating fruit, don't you,
Well, I like, for as long as I can remember now, I have a pear.
Yeah. At kind of supper time,
yeah,
8:30 at night, because we eat tea as we call it, or dinner. We eat it quite early because Bryony's hungry, so we eat around 5. But it means that sort of come 8, 8:30, you're kind of hungry before bed, and I don't think you should go to bed hungry. So you normally just have a pear, and that's been fine.
Yes.
But just lately, you've been having a pear and like an orangey sort of fruit.
And the reason being is since having the operation, I've been getting hungry.
Yeah.
Because my stomach's all over the place.
Yeah.
Well, so I upped my fruit intake, which was such a bad thing to do. And Kay,
I did tell him not to do it.
Poirot, as I like to call her, it came to the conclusion, quite rightly so, that I ate 2 tangerines, which I didn't properly remove the pith from.
I don't think they were properly ripe, were they?
Also not properly ripe, because they were very sharp.
They were very sharp.
And I woke up at about 2 o'clock.
Yeah,
with the most agonising stomach pains I've ever had in my life, and I just couldn't get back to sleep. You said have some Gaviscon.
I told you to get some Gaviscon.
Put a hot water bottle on it, which really started to help sort it out. But what surprised me, and I think I just have to accept the fact that things are different now. I've always had a fairly good constitution.
Yeah.
It took me probably 3 days to get back to being close to being right again.
And it was we've concluded it was just trapped wind.
Absolutely was.
Because you burped for about 3 hours.
For longer than that, I think I burped for about 24 hours.
Yeah, but really bad.
It was like going back to
just after the operation.
Yes,
because that's what it was like.
Yeah, just awful.
But it was horrible seeing him like that, and it threw me into an anxiety thing for a few days, really. And I don't think I'm fully sort of over it.
Because I was laid up on the bed.
With Dan, laid out on the bed during the day, and I'd go into the bedroom and see him, and he's laid out on the bed, and it just brought back all these horrible chemo memories and illness memories, and it just it's just really put me about.
Thankfully, after a couple of days, after 24 hours, I was back up and out, and feeling loads better now. But you just have to accept the fact that as we all get older and life experiences happen, that things change, and I'll know now in future.
You've got to think as well, it's not really that long since the surgery.
No, it's 10.5 weeks.
Yeah, and I think your stomach isn't as it was yet, but I'm sure it was just a blip. And
it absolutely was.
Yeah.
And, onward and upward. That's what I say. I've been loving the Wake Up Carl. Absolutely loving it. And I'm so glad that, so many of you, hearing so many amazing stories about different people who either admit to sitting and watching and sit down with their significant other and watch, or other people who don't. And that's JT and Dana. Dana sits and watches, and JT, he disappears off out the room.
Oh, does he?
He does. JT, it's not acceptable. You're a musician. I'm a musician. You need to give it a go. So I'm throwing down the challenge to you, JT. I want you to knit a square, and Dana, you can share with us what he does, because we'd love to see it. And the reason why I'm throwing down the challenge to you, JT, is if you remember, you probably haven't seen because you were out of the room while Dave was watching. If you look back at our early episodes, I will have spoken a lot about how the fact that knitting patterns work in the same way as musical notation. They go, that's certainly my theory, they go into your brain in exactly the same way. So I'm telling you, you will be able to understand the reading of a pattern, and you will enjoy the rhythmic nature of it. So just give it a go and see what happens.
Yes.
Yes.
I think it's now time to find out, Dan Jones, what's on your knit?
Yeah. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
It's
I've never got a 10 out of 10.
74 episodes. That's the best transition that you've ever done.
Oh gosh, you're just being kind.
I'm not being kind.
Is that like on the treasure hunt where I did something and you said that was really funny?
It was really funny.
Oh, right.
And you'll find out later.
I didn't think it was that funny.
It's hilarious. It's the funniest thing ever. I've watched it back about 10 times. Every time it makes me laugh. Just you wait till you see. So what is on my needles? Well, look at this.
Look, it's upside down.
Now, look, woman. I'm choosing to show it this way. I may choose to turn it the other way later.
I'm only saying that because I always do that, don't I?
But that's fine. I'm choosing.
Always show socks upside down.
This is the way that I look at them. So this is the way. Stop fiddling with my yarn. Look. It is a Strie Sock, and you will notice that there has been a change. And that change is I knit the first...
Oh, I need to get a blocker.
Oh, don't worry. I knit the first one on wooden DPNs, and I'm knitting the second one on metal DPNs. And those of you who joined me for last week's The Dan and Laura project, which seems to have taken on a life of its own, it's like a podcast all of its own.
It is. I enjoyed it.
I don't know how it happened. I did a half-hour podcast and I only sit down to talk for a few minutes about
by
a sock.
himself, he did.
I did, in my own little knitting corner.
I know, it was good.
We spoke before, I'm sure on the last podcast, about possibly trying metal needles, and I just thought, let's do this. Those of you who joined me will have seen that I got so caught up in the fact that I was using metal needles. Well, I did the wrong rib. I did twisted rib.
You did.
What a complete fool. So I ripped it out. And look, because of course I had to rip it out because the point of the Strie Sock pattern is that it feels like a continuation of the rib, even though it isn't down the sock. So it would have just ruined it. And whilst Kay was so sweet and said, look, just crack on, I just couldn't do it because I would have known that it was always there. And I want to get things right. If you're going to do something, you might as well
I would
do
have
it
done the
properly.
same thing. I would have ripped it out.
So I've gone up and down and up and down. That's one of Bryony's quotes from many years ago.
Yeah.
And I've swayed from not liking the metal needles to loving the metal needles, to thinking they're okay and missing the wooden ones. It's like up and down like a yo-yo. And I've come to the conclusion, and I'm only that way through my first sock, so who knows what I'll think by the end. But that's the wonderful thing about this process. And, you know, I say again, I'm so glad that I've done this. And I've been an idiot because I've been tempted. That's a Squeeze song, isn't it? Tempted by the fruit of the night.
Oh, I know the song. I didn't know it was Squeeze.
I've come to the conclusion, I think, that they all have their place. Wooden DPNs, metal DPNs, they all are good at certain things and not so good at others. And I think it comes down to either the pattern that you're knitting, the sock that you're doing. You know, there's so many. And
I think it's just personal preference as well. Some people like really slippy, slick needles. Some people like grippy, you know. Some people like light.
Again, though, it's going to come down to the yarn that you're using, isn't it? And the pattern that you're knitting.
Yeah, I mean, the yarn has something to do with it as well. If you have a nice grippy yarn, then you can use slippier needles, can't you? And it's not so much of an issue.
Yeah. So I'm adoring the fact that the stitches don't feel glued to the needles. I'm really, really enjoying that. But the thing that I'm not enjoying, and you touched on this when you said that you'd been changing your projects to wood, I totally see why she's had to do that. Because there's no give.
There's no give, yeah.
It doesn't feel as pleasurable. It'd be lovely to have a wonderfully slippy wooden needle.
Well, we said this, didn't we, before?
Yes, we spoke about this.
They do get slippier. I mean, I'm knitting on wooden needles at the moment, and this was a new pair, actually. It's just Knit Pro Harmonies, Symphonies. And they were, when I first started using them, they're very, very grippy, but they are smoother because the yarn polishes them.
Yes.
As you're working with them, so I think they do get smoother.
Yeah.
But you're using Chow-goo.
Yes.
And they are much grippier than like higher sharps.
Right.
Higher sharps, it's like an oil slick for me. They're way too slippy.
I wouldn't want anything slippy in this. This is perfectly slippy for me. But I can now segue quite beautifully into my next point, and that is this. It suddenly dawned on me yesterday, and I'll speak about this a little bit later. Yesterday I wasted my time, about 2 hours of my time doing something.
Yeah.
And it was all through the desire to, you know how you're knitting something and you need a break, don't you? I've knit on this for a bit and I need a break. I need to knit something else. I still want to knit, but I need a different yarn, maybe some different needles, different project. Keep me engaged in the process. So that's why I was looking to cast on something new. And then it dawned on me, why can't I have 2 pairs of socks on the go at the same time? I've never done that before. Well, I've never done that before. I've never had 2 pairs.
I usually have 3 or 4 on the go.
Well, the whole Dan and Lara project, the whole point of it is to get the socks knit by the end of the 12 months. Being slightly panicky because I am slightly...
So cast on the second pair.
That's what I'm going to do.
You're going to do that?
That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, what are the second pair?
Mouchoir.
Oh.
Means handkerchief. Yes, bless you.
Right.
It's handkerchief in French.
Right.
But I'm going to cast that on before the end of the week and get knitting on the mouchoir whilst I'm finishing this off. Picking up though on...
It's lovely.
I found that people talk a lot, don't they, about having problems, and Kay's done tutorials before about this, about knitting with DPNs and not having ladders. And the tutorial I did was brilliant. I watched that and that's really helped. But also, I think that the metal needles have helped.
Right.
And I think for me, the reason why the metal needles have helped is because I'm not having to push and pull the yarn so much. I can concentrate much more on keeping the gauge even.
I mean, I was looking at it last night, wasn't I? You said, check for my ladders. And because of the stitch pattern as well, they're not quite so apparent.
Which is good.
But there's only really one where it's the start of your round, which is strange, because all the joins are the same, aren't they, really, when you're going round like that. But that one, the start of the round, is the one where there's a little bit of laddering going on, but doesn't matter.
But that is my...
It will kind of block, I think, maybe as well.
Yeah. There is the yarn, and that's the lovely... What's it called?
Fondant Fancy.
Thank you.
Deb finished her socks in that.
Yes!
She did incantation socks in it.
Yes!
I know.
That's so cool. And do you know what? It's been lovely, because I said to Kay, I really want some pops. I want it to pop at certain points, not be... Because you were going to do something more like the the Queen Mary's
Well,
rose.
this is Queen Mary's Rose, which was a patron-only colourway. But you wanted some brighter pops, so can you see these little neon-y pink pops? I put those into it. I've been
loving those. Look.
And it looks really nice, so I think...
It looks like a fondant fancy.
Yeah, the next time I dye up Queen Mary's Rose, I might just put in some of these pops.
No, this is fondant fancy. It's different.
I know, but I really like it.
It's a different colourway. So it's fondant fancy.
I'm sure the patrons would love it.
So, yes.
So I'll dye that up and it's... Yeah, it's not
because it is fondant fancy.
Oh, all right. It's very close to Queen Mary's Rose, though, isn't it?
Kay Jones.
Yes.
What's on your needles?
Well, I've picked up an old project because of just the issues I've had with my wrist this week. I just didn't know what I want. You know, it's so frustrating. I wanted to knit something, but I didn't want to put any pressure on my wrist by knitting something that might be heavy on the needles or anything like that. So Dan said to me, why don't you just knit some blanket squares? And I said, oh, I've not got, I haven't really got anything on the go at the minute. And then I thought, of course I have. I've got my Disney blanket, haven't I? My Disney, I think I just called it my Disney blanket,
yes.
Didn't I? But I kind of didn't fancy any other Disney films. I was like, I can't really think of any that I fancy sort of knitting at the minute. And then I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go off-piste and do a film that isn't Disney and change. It's my project, isn't it? And I can change it if I want to. So I'm now saying this blanket is just any films that we all really like that I want to transfer into a blanket block. And I was knitting it on my lovely signatures, if you remember, but just with the problems I've had with my wrist, these are very, very hard signatures. I do find that they're incredibly hard. And although I love them and they're beautiful, I just thought that might not be a good thing for my wrist at the minute. So I knit this square just on Knit Pro Symphonies. And this is a little pair. This was an 8-inch DPN pair. And Dan chopped the ends off for me, one of the ends. And then I made just these, do you know the little Fimo clay? I just made these little ends, baked them in the oven and then stuck them on to make a little mini set of needles. So I've used a wooden needle, and I was a bit bothered that the gauge would be different, and I think it might be slightly bigger, this square, but once it's in the blanket I don't think it will be noticeable. I've done the Wizard of Oz. I really wanted to do a Wizard of Oz block. And, there's so many characters in it that it's just perfect for this. Very distinct characters with distinct colours. So me and Bryony chose the 9 characters. The one that I haven't done, and it got bumped for a prettier square, is I didn't do Toto. And I was going to do Toto, but then I looked at the pictures of him. It's a boy, isn't it, Toto? Yeah. Toto. Sorry, I should say it like that, shouldn't I? Toto. And he's just kind of a greyish, brownish colour, isn't he? And I thought, let's be a bit of a dull square. And I really wanted to do Glinda, and she's beautiful and pink and sparkly. So, of course, you know who won. So I'll show you the square. I haven't bordered it yet, but I finished the blocks this morning. So here's my Wizard of Oz square. Yay! I'm holding that totally the wrong way. Hang on. It's that way. It's that way. So I started down here with Dorothy with her blue and white dress. And then I've got ruby slippers, of course. We have to have ruby slippers next to Dorothy. And then we've got the Cowardly Lion. I love how that one came out. I used 3 different shades of like goldy sort of coloured yarn. And then I did a rainbow, because you've got to have a rainbow, haven't you? And if you look, I just managed to get some purple in here, right at the top. I wouldn't have got any purple in. It was a self-striping. It's one of the West Yorkshire Spinners yarns. And I was getting to the blue here, and I thought, I'm not going to get to the purple. So I cut the blue, and I just managed to get a little bit of purple in the corner. We've got Glinda, which is like 3 different pinks. I love putting different pinks together. Doesn't that look lovely? Oh, it's really nice. And then we've got Emerald City, of course. You all know that this one must be the Witch. This is Bryony's favourite square, the Witch. And then we've got the Scarecrow and the Tin Man. And I really like the Tin Man. It was just one skein. I didn't alternate or anything. And it was a skein queen, one of her little wrigglers, which is lovely. It's like a silver with little pops of sort of metallic colour, so I thought that was brilliant for the Tin Man. So there's my Wizard of Oz block, and I've just got to border that now.
It'll look nice with the border on, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's a bit of pink in the middle.
There's pink in the middle. I know.
Put the pink on the outside.
I had to remember not to put the pink on the edge, because my border that I'm knitting it with is this, which is Cascade Heritage, and it's colour 5648, which is Strawberry Cream. Just really, really pretty pink. So what I then did, because I was just trying to find jobs, you know, crafty sort of things without doing too much knitting, I thought I will join the first strip of squares, because this block is number 6 and it's going to be 4x4. So the first 4 I could join. So I did that. It didn't take very long at all, actually. So let's hold this the right way. Yes, this is the top. It'll be your top left, won't it, as you look at it. Going across. I'll have to do it in segments. So it starts here, look, with Toy Story. And then we've got Finding Dory. And then we've got Frozen. And Force Awakens. I really like the Force Awakens block, actually. Look, I think it does look very Star Warsy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's this wide. I've no idea how much you're seeing. If I go like that and I go like that, it's quite wide actually. I don't know what that is. Not sure, but you know, it's a nice, definitely a brilliant size for a, you know, a lap blanket, and it'll be square. And I think, you know, now I've joined some squares, I think it looks really lovely. Just the other square, the other block I've got is this one, which was Muppets Christmas Carol. So that one goes on the edge like that below, yes, the start of the next row. So then this one will go next to it once I've bordered it. So I don't know what film I'm going to do next. I was asking Bryony this morning and we were thinking maybe Bedknobs and Broomsticks might be a good one. That is a Disney film, isn't it?
Yes.
Or Calamity Jane. But then I'm thinking the colours in Calamity Jane are all kind of...
There are some colourful bits.
There are, and she wears that beautiful pink dress, doesn't she, to the ball. And she also wears a beautiful yellow dress when she falls in the creek, as she calls it, falls in the creek. That would be a good square to do if I did beautiful yellow with then like brown splodges for the mud. So maybe I'll do Calamity Jane, that sounds good now I've been talking about it. But I just thought I'd quickly show you, I brought down my original, I can pull it off the shelf, my original Stitching Time blanket. This was the first one that I did, you know, the first sort of the inspiration for my Disney blanket, I suppose. But this was the Stitching Time blanket. So I'm just going to hold that. I've no idea what you can see.
Pull it tight.
Pull it tight. There we go. Oh, it looks lovely. So this is months of the year. So January, February, March, and you know, going down. So there's 12 blocks. So this is on my Ravelry project page, and this was my first one. And it's lovely. And I keep this just on the back of the chair in the living room. You know, in the morning when I'm knitting, if it's chilly, I just throw it on my knee, and it's a really nice, just a lap blanket, and it, you know, I love it, and I just love looking at it. It's just a really pretty thing to look at. So, if you wanted to know some details,
and you did a whole series of it.
I did, yeah, for the patrons. Yeah,
yes.
There's a whole series of tutorials. I love that yellow there. I love that one. I've really been wanting to think about dyeing some yellow yarn actually, and yellow's not normally my colour, but I feel kind of in a yellow mood for some reason. So yes, that's that. So I'm going to get that bordered and then maybe think about the next block, because I really enjoyed doing it, and it's just a nice thing. It's been nice and light. It's not really been hurting my wrist to work on it, so that's been a good thing.
Is that the Wicked Witch?
Well, yes.
It reminds me of Grot Bags.
Ah, right. She was a witch as well.
She was. And she was at Emu. Was it Brodhill and Emu?
Was it?
I don't know either.
I can't remember.
But, you know, Grot Bags was definitely a huge part of my growing up, which I find slightly worrying. Let's move swiftly on. Have you finished?
Let's move on. Yes, I think so.
Wonderful. Look.
Look at that.
I'm into my 3rd repeat.
Wow.
It's taking me about 2 weeks to do a repeat.
It's looking great though.
Yes. Easier. So much easier than I expected. You know, once you've nailed the increases on the sleeves and, you know, doing those increases and practicing that was just a brilliant thing to do. Because, you know, I'd only done them a tiny bit. So now I feel like, you know, if you said to me, make one left, make one right, it sounds like knitting boot camp. Right. Make one left. Now. Make one right. What's the invisible one called? Make one middle? What's the one that you do for the decklins? Where it's like an invisible. You've done a tutorial on it, my darling.
Honey, the last time... how many things do I do and how many different things do I knit?
Well,
you expect me to remember?
You've done over 140 tutorials,
yeah,
so
exactly.
You should have remembered it.
Oh, I should have remembered that tiny detail.
But doing all those was a brilliant thing for me to do because I've just not done them very much. And it's important, isn't it? You know, making gloves and you know, just about everything that you can think of has an increase in it. You know, so many patterns do.
Yeah.
So doing that was great. And actually, once you're through that, as I said last time, you just get on with it. So now I'm able to focus on the bit, which is the thing I always wanted to knit this for, and that was doing loads and loads of cables. My only thing is I just wish they were a bit more complex. Because I've nearly got it in my head.
In your head. Yeah,
I reckon.
It is simple. It is a simple cable. It's a great one to start off with, though.
I've made a decent amount of progress on that.
You have, it looks great.
And I'm moving quicker on this. Now look, it's nearly done, see?
It's nearly finished. And I think the size, actually, now that you've done a bit more, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I've said to you I want to wear it on Christmas Day.
Absolutely. It'll be ready before then.
Nice leggings. And
she's going to look amazing.
I want it nice and long. I want
That's
it like
fine.
a tunic.
I'll knit.
I'm sure you'll have enough yarn. I hope you'll have enough yarn because you're a tight knitter. So
I'll even do some increases on the bottom if you like.
Does that mean that you'll use more yarn?
Yes.
No, when you're a loose knitter, you'd use more yarn, wouldn't you?
No, you'd use more with the tight knitter because you're getting in more fabric per row.
Is that right?
Well, I would have thought so.
I'm very confused.
I would have thought so. What do you think?
Well, I hope you'll have enough yarn.
I'll have enough yarn.
Yeah, because yes, you don't need hardly anything for the sleeves because it's only a little bit.
So, I would strongly, I can't even begin to tell you how much I would recommend garment knitting. And I say that because I think about where I was before I started knitting this. It seemed like Everest. It really did. I'm going to knit a garment. You just think, what? That's completely bananas. Well, do you know what? It isn't. And having long rows actually is really cool. You know, I'm so used to hats and socks and, single loop cowls, which it's beginner stuff really, isn't it? You need to push on a bit and it's just fun. Having so much weight, it's weird. I'm not used to having so much weight in a project.
No, and that's because you're knitting it in the round. And it's funny because my mum never ever knit any garments in the round. Just wasn't really done in her day. It was, everything was pieced and then, knit flat and then seamed. I wonder if I know that there are more patterns now out there that are seamed, and I just do wonder if that's sort of coming round full circle now, because I think people are seeing the advantages of a seamed garment. And I know a lot of people already know the advantages of it, because a lot of people do, prefer garments to be seamed, and it gives a lot more structure to a garment. And also, I think it's more portable, isn't it? Because you're just knitting it a piece at a time. But then conversely, it's nice to knit things in the round as well. If you don't enjoy seaming, I don't mind seaming, so I think that's always
it's so much nicer when you open it out.
Well, it will be opened out.
I'm such a fool. I've been looking at it and thinking, it doesn't really look like the 1K's got already. Well, of course it doesn't, because it's not on a body and opened out like it will be. And actually, when you open out that pattern, it looks so much nicer than what when it's like that. That looks a bit like arrows.
It does.
Whereas when you open it out,
it looks more like a leaf, doesn't it? Maybe
it totally changes, or branches on a tree, or horns, or so many different things. Lovely.
Lovely.
Lovely. They're doing a different version of the 10-minute sequel to Love Actually.
Oh, really?
For the American Red Nose Day.
Because that was kind of disappointing, I've got to say, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a bit. I mean, it was sort of fun.
It was fun to see everybody.
You'll find it on,
as they are
on
now.
YouTube. I would guess. I don't know. It might not be there. Sometimes they're not. But they did a 10-minute sequel, and they're doing a slightly different one.
Right.
For the American Red Nose Day. Laura Linney's in it, the American lady who.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And supposedly Patrick Dempsey.
Right.
Is being signed up to play a love interest. I mean, signed up for a 10-minute sequel.
Gosh. But he wasn't in the original.
No, he wasn't.
Oh.
But of course, Patrick Dempsey was in.
He was in.
Bridget Jones.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he was the fella.
And well, he is a fella, so of course he was the
fella. Well, this is just what I do. I'll say to Dan, "Oh yeah, he's that fella," and Dan's he knows exactly who I mean.
and put it this way, right? If I had the choice between Colin Firth now or Patrick Dempsey now, I'd go with Patrick Dempsey. Sorry,
it's
Colin.
Funny, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, we saw Colin Firth recently.
20 years ago, maybe, but then Patrick Dempsey 20 years ago, maybe more. What am I talking about?
You know, everybody gets older, don't they? And I still
do,
think he's lovely.
But Patrick Dempsey is lovely.
Oh. You heard it here first. Oh, my fringe is driving me mad, everybody.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen.
You will have noticed I have not had my hair done yet.
And, you know, I trimmed that. She talked for ages about that in the last episode, and I trimmed it down so hard because I just thought, not her hair.
Not my hair.
Although I've offered many times. But she always says no. I just knew putting that sort of pressure on with 2 weeks to go, managing to get you booked in and sorted.
By the time you watch this, I will have had my hair done. I'm having it done this afternoon, actually.
By the time I've begun editing this, she will have had it done.
I'm not looking forward to it.
You'll be fine.
Tiny bit.
I've had 2 hairdos. She's excellent.
2.5 hours in the hairdressers, sat with a stranger. Oh, I'm just not looking forward to it at all.
You'll be fine. There won't be many people in.
I'm having it cut, highlighted, everything. So, it's driving me nuts. Anyway, I thought I'd might...
What's going on?
Well, I don't know if I'll ever do this.
Of course you will.
I really want this thing.
No, you will, because this is bedtime knitting. We spoke about this.
Well, it is.
You need a simple...
It is after a certain point. Right. I really want this item, but I don't necessarily want to knit it. But if I want it, I'm going to have to knit it, aren't I, really? And
well, that's normally how it works.
So I thought, can I think of a way of me not getting bored? Is a garment. And I tend to, as we've said before, I just get a little weary and I just get a bit bored when it's a big item. And this one, there's a lot of fabric. It's fingering weight. There's a lot of fabric going on. And I just think, oh my goodness, you know, will I get bored? And I thought, well, hang on, is there a way I can knit this without getting bored? And then I thought, well, maybe what I could do, my size takes 4 skeins, I think. So I thought, why not get 4 skeins of yarn that all look pretty together and do a kind of broad striped sweater. So I thought, right, okay, let's pull the yarns out. So I'll tell you what I'm talking about first of all. I'm talking about this, the V-neck boxy. I've got a couple of store-bought jumpers that are this kind of boxy style.
She looks great in
and I think I look like a bag of whatever
studs
in these jumpers, but Dan says not, and he said, oh, you look really good in those jumpers. So I'm like, right, okay, well, I knew about this. I think the V-neck boxy fingering weight, I think it's a fairly new one. It's from Hohi Locatelli. She's done several versions of the boxy. I actually saw Zena's just knit one, and she put a picture on Instagram, and I thought, oh, maybe I should knit that. Because I do like V-neck tops as well, rather than round neck, I think. I think I'm more of a V-neck. So I thought, right, okay, I'll go and buy the pattern first, and I'll have a read of it. So I bought the pattern, I've had a read of it. They're lovely. I have had a couple of her patterns before, actually, but I don't know that I've ever knit them. But it looks beautifully written. I really like the way that she writes her patterns. Very easy to understand. You know, all of her rows are nicely spaced out. Sometimes patterns, you know, you'll get a chunk of writing like this and it's a bit, you know, difficult to sort of take in. But this looks lovely. All the photos are really pretty. There's a photo there that, you know, it just looks lovely. So I thought, right, let's pull out some yarns and see if I can inspire myself. So I recently bought from Deb had an update just a couple of weeks ago, and I saw this colourway and I was like, oh, got to have it. And it was on a spangle base, which is my favourite, and it's called Stars in Her Hair. Oh, I mean, look, oh, look at that.
Knitability readers, if you are feeling inspired to go and look on Deb's website, remember there's a discount voucher in Voucher. There's a discount voucher.
What's a voucher?
There's a discount code in issue 2 of Knitability.
So I bought this and I love it and it's beautiful. And lovely Deb sent me an extra skein. Deb. And she sent me this. Look at them together. It's spangle again, and this is her lilac. Oh, and just look at those two together. So then I was like, oh, what else have I got that would look good? And I've actually got another fondant fibre that you got me this for my birthday.
Yes.
And Deb dyed me this specially, and Dan named it Mrs. Bakery Bear's Rose.
Mother's Day.
Oh, Mother's Day. I'm sorry, it's my birthday coming up. Oh, I'm getting confused. Mother's Day, so then I thought, oh, those three together. And then this one was gifted to me recently as well. I got some Wool Barn luxury sock. It's a different base, but the colour is kind of right. And look, can you see where I'm going? So there's actually 4 skeins there. You know, and they all look lovely together. But then I thought, are these two too close in colour? Because they are similar. And then I remembered I dyed up some yarn for the patrons at Christmas, and I loved it, and I dyed myself a couple of skeins up, and I've used part of one of the skeins, but I've got maybe a third of that one left. Yeah, I know, I've got about a third of that one left, plus a full skein.
That would look good in a box, you definitely use that.
Well, then what I thought was, should I do the top portion, you know, to the point of where you start, there's a point in the pattern where you just start knitting straight down for like 14 inches or whatever. So I thought, should I do that top section in one yarn and then start striping maybe 3 colours after that? And I thought, oh, that might look good. So I'd got this one, and this one was Dashing Through the Snow. So it's this lovely neutral with these little pops of, my idea for this one when I dyed it up was, it was like the tracks of Santa's sleigh going through the snow. Do you know when it turns to slush and you get those, you know, like you get the mud peeking through? This was my idea for this, and I loved it, so I dyed myself some up. So I thought, should I put that one at the top and then stripe, you know, the 3 other spangles that I've got? So then it's all spangle, because this is on a sparkle base as well that I dyed up. And look at those. I think that would be lovely. Do you think that would be lovely?
Yeah.
I know. So I might do that, and I need to really look at the pattern to work out whether I think I'd have enough. I mean, I could always dye up another one of my Dashing Through the Snow if I don't have enough, can't I? Because I dyed this one. But I've got about a skein and a third of this. So what I'm thinking is, can I get to the point of kind of where the sleeves come off, and then when you're knitting down, here we go, continue working in stocking stitch until your work measures X number of inches. So it's at that point that I'm thinking I could start striping those lovely 3 beautiful colours. So that's what I'm pondering. And anybody who's knit this V-neck boxy, do you think I really want it? So I'm really hoping I wouldn't get bored. And like
Dan, you won't get bored. Look,
like
you've
Dan
been knitting
said,
something intensely boring at bedtime.
Well, that's true. I've just been going round and round on my cowl.
I look at it and I think, how are you doing that? I'd be so bored.
That's what I'm thinking, you know. Once I get to that point, it's just round and round knitting, isn't it? For
you're letting the garment make you think. Just because the word garment is in it, you're thinking, I can't do this.
But the pattern, as I was just talking about it being, you know, items being seamed and knit in the round, there's actually a seamed version in here. Because Hohi likes to knit her garments in pieces. I think that's the way she prefers to knit them. And when you see pictures of her, she actually knits on the long straight needles. And I've not seen anybody knit on long straight needles since my mum, my mum still knits on them. So it's really nice to see somebody knitting in that way, I think. It's the old-fashioned way, yeah. So she knits all of her, as far as I'm aware, she says in the pattern that she prefers to knit that way, but she knows lots of people prefer in the round, so that's why she's done both options in the pattern, which I think is brilliant. I would knit it in the round, I think, because it is more, it's a very loose-fitting, flowy garment, isn't it? So it suits that non-seam.
You look like Baby Groot.
I did do it, didn't I? So it suits not having the seams, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. So thinking about that, and who knows, I might have that cast on for next time. What size needles is it? And this is the other thing, I've got to find some wooden needles because I would want to knit it on wood, wouldn't I? Are
you done?
3.5 mils, so I'm sure I've got some. Yes, I think I'm done with that.
That ends our brand new segment of what might be on your needles. More again, maybe next time.
Who knows whether that might be on my needles.
I'll be doing a bit more of this. Yes, it is of course my Queen Mary scarf. And it is always like coming home when I do a bit of knitting on this. It's the most lovely thing ever. It's perfect yarn. It's a perfect pattern. And every stitch of it just flows. It flows off the needles. It's the only project that I currently have on the go where everything feels perfect. The needles are spot on. The yarn is perfect. The pattern is perfect. So it's that sort of bang on synergy. And it frustrates me because at the moment I'm always feeling like I should be doing something else. Not to say I'm not enjoying everything else that I'm doing. I am, but my double knitting knowledge is at a level where I can knock this out and it not be an issue. Which brings me on to the other thing that I was going to talk to you about. Now you may recall last episode that I showed you a brand new cast on of double knitting.
Oh.
Well, I was an idiot, and I was an idiot because my focus at the moment is the Dan and Lara project, which is nailing socks. That's me this year. By the end of this year, I want socks nailed. That's not to say double knitting isn't vitally important to me. As I've just told you, it absolutely is. But there is a technique in double knitting, which is the hardest thing I've ever tried to do. The hardest thing I've ever had to do in knitting is the twin colour alternating invisible cast on when you have more stitches than fit on your needle. Nathan has done a wonderful tutorial, which is excellent, and he even within it says that it will get extremely frustrating and there'll be a few choice expletives. Well, it's nuts. I tried it, so I did it once and it twisted all over the place.
Oh, terribly.
So had to rip that out. That was what I showed last time. I then did it again.
You tried casting it on a magic loop, didn't you?
Tried casting it on a magic loop. So did it again, did it wrong. So I did it again. The second time I did it much faster. It took me an hour to do it first time. Second time I did it, it took me about 25 minutes.
Oh, right.
So properly nailed it. But the mistake I made was, when I did it first time, I was counting the individual stitches and I needed 196. Right. When I did it second time, I came to my senses and counted the pairs, but I forgot that I'd done that. So I got to 96.
And then, oh no.
Yes. So third time I did it and things went much, much better. But then it just, and I think I did manage to get it on and get it right. But then there was an issue with, and I think I need to watch Nathan's tutorial again right to the end, because I got it on, and you've got a slip knot on one end. So you've got all your stitches down here, you've got all your stitches down here, and of course this end's got a load of stitches on, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're going to knit like that, aren't you? Of course, you're going to pull that out, and
yeah.
You're going to get on with knitting, and you're going to pull your yarns across.
Yeah.
But to do that, you've surely got to take out the slip knot.
I don't know.
Well, you do.
Right.
You don't knit into the slip knot.
Right, okay.
But if you take the slip knot out, then the stitches just untwist.
Right.
So I've got to watch the tutorial again because...
Can you not just start knitting, leave the slip knot on, but then just start knitting?
So slip the slip knot across. I bet you that's what he does. Because you could slip it, couldn't you? You could slip the slip knot, start knitting.
Well, don't even knit it. Don't even...
Let it drop off.
Let it drop off.
That'll be what he does.
Just start knitting where you need to.
That'll be what he does. That's totally ringing the bell. You see, the problem was I'd invested so much brain power into just doing what I'd done. You know, casting on 96 pairs of stitches, getting it on magic loop. Also, as well, I've got to say I am slightly concerned about the going around the corner.
On magic loop?
With that cast on, it's so unstable.
Yeah. How do you split the stitches in half?
Well, I managed to do that, but still my concern is because you've got one strand at the back, one strand at the front, and then your first stitch, that's where they then come together and then you're off. I just couldn't get it into my head. So I came to the conclusion that my double knitting abilities have just not reached that standard yet.
It sounds very difficult. I mean,
It is. So...
do you have to do that cast on?
No.
Well, don't do it then.
But, well, Kay has brought me the most brilliant book called Extreme Double Knitting.
It was Nathan who recommended it.
And it's got so much content in it. It's going to be brilliant. So I can go through that and I can have a really good read. Because one of the hard things I've found is looking for quality instruction online if you want to sort of up your... Because that's the difficulty, isn't it, with YouTube. You do a search and there's 10 brilliant ones and 100 not so brilliant ones. And what you want is you want to learn in the right way. So getting hold of this book has just been superb. I had a good look at it yesterday. First of all, there's some brilliant patterns in it, but also the amount of technique that's in there, it just covers everything. So I'm really going to sort of get my head into that. I'm going to carry on knitting this. I'm going to get my head into that book. I'm going to do some reading, do a bit of research, and then focus on this a bit. I have been knitting lots on this, but really focus on this and, make some progress through this and enjoy this. Don't stress so much, because it was just, when you try something, you want to get something right, don't you? You don't want to get it wrong. And so I'm just going to park it, and my desire to be knitting on another project will be, as we've established, another pair of socks. Perfection.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
There's something else on Kay's Needles. Let's find out what it is.
It's a sock, and I was hoping to have finished this. If truth be told, I really wanted to have this pair finished, but alas, they are not. But I have cast on the second of my Easter socks. Yes, I know it's May. Let's not think about that. They still look very spring-like, I think. And I'll show you the finished one in Finished Objects.
Yes.
I will hold that sock back.
Yes.
But I've cast on the second, and actually I'm to the heel flap now.
Okay, it's not called Finished Object, it's called What's Off Your Needles.
Sorry,
and that is that sock off your needles?
Yes, it is.
So on the Bakery Bears, we are perfectly permitted to show you anything that is off our needles.
Okay, that's cool. So I'm at now the point of the heel flap in the second sock. Oh, so pretty. I hope that's showing up. Okay, there we go. And as you can see, I've transferred. I was knitting this on the new Chowgoo needle, the magic loop one that I spoke about on the last episode, but it was metal and I just didn't want to risk it with my hands, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to put it onto some wooden DPNs. So I'm actually using the new Knit Picks needles. I think I mentioned these last time as well. Knit Picks Caspian. Oh, and they're lovely. I suppose really they are just the same as the Harmonies, the Knit Pro Harmonies. But the colours are so pretty, and the colours of the needle match I think they match my project, don't they? It's just really nice. They're lovely, lovely DPNs, and they've got that give, because they're wooden. They've got that give, so it's just much kinder, I think, on your hands than the metal. Oh, look at my little bee. Oh, look at my little bee. Oh, buzzy bee. So I'm, really enjoying this, and I knit I think I knit all of the leg actually in the car. We went to see my mum last weekend, and I knit all of the leg there and back in the car. So I mean, that was really good. So I'm now, you know, heel flap, gusset, foot, nearly done really, aren't I? I think the favourite bit actually for me of knitting a sock is I really just enjoy knitting this bit. I don't know why that is. I think it's probably because it's fresh and new, isn't it? And it's just nice to see the colours just develop, and I just really like knitting, you know, the cuff and the leg of a sock, and then I enjoy the heel flap as well. I like it all, to be fair. So that's that one, and then I do have one of the, well, there's Dan's Christmas sock as well on the go, but I do have one other sock that I haven't actually knit on for ages, and I'm a complete failure because it was for the You're My Hero KAL, which is now ended. But I cast it on for that, and I just never got any further than the leg. But this was the yarn that I'm using. Oh, it's so pretty. How lovely is that? It's from Deb at Fondant Fibre, and it says Spangle base, and the colourway was You're My Hero, and that's why I'm covering my face. That's why I was using it. So then I thought, actually, these colours are very Halloweeny, aren't they? That's my new word. Halloweeny. So what I thought was I would sort of park them, as Dan has just coined that new phrase, just for a little while, and then pick them back up when it gets closer to Bryony's birthday.
Lots of people use that phrase.
Park it, do they? I don't think I've ever said it.
Okay.
Huh?
I don't want anyone, because there'll be people writing in saying
it's not a new thing. I don't know
that
I've ever said
years.
it. So yeah, I thought I'd give her these for her birthday, which is the end of October. So maybe I'll pick these up in, say, August, and just start working on them again. Because it's at that point of where I'm happy to leave it, because I'm just ready for the heel flap now. So it's not doing any harm, just sitting on the needles until then. But it's the yarn lovely. But I did think it was very Halloweeny. And maybe I will put in a contrast heel in, what colour could I do? Red or orange. Would that be a bit much? Red or orange with that? Maybe. No. Or maybe I'll just pick out the green or the purple and do a contrast heel. I'll have a think. So that one, like I said, will just go away for a little bit, and I will pick it back up nearer to Bryony's birthday. Where's
Finished?
The other needle? There it is.
Finished?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, I've got a new clicker.
So have I.
Yeah. How cute. It's pink. Oh, I can click it because I'm not using it. And it's got a smiley face. And it's got a... I gave one to Dan, and straight away he put it around his neck, and I said, oh gosh. It just made me laugh, really, that he put it around his neck. But I got it from Woolstack, I think it was. It was only about £3. They're normally really expensive, the clickers. They're usually £6 or £7, but this one was cheaper. So I got a couple. I'm sure it was from Woolstack. So there you go.
Brilliant.
New clicker.
Now, we started a treasure hunt, and we promised you that we were going to finish it. We bumped forward the start of the new adventures because, as we established last episode, we desperately just wanted to get cracking, and we're so glad we did. But today, it's time to finish that treasure hunt. So this is the quest
Yay.
for the perfect afternoon tea. And over the next 2 parts, because as usual with our segments, we're going to split it into 2 parts. We're going to go for the first bit now, then we'll come back and do some soft your needles, then go back and finish it off. For the next 2 parts, we're going to visit 2 of our most favourite places, which is funny because they were 2 of our earliest favourite places to knit visits. So shall we go and find out what the conclusion of the treasure hunt holds? What do you think?
Well, I know, so I can't say.
No. Do you think we should go?
Oh, yes, I do think we should go.
Let's go then! We're going to Braymore Ice Cream Parlour. Let's go! Come on. We're off.
I'm not running.
Oh my goodness, it's the treasure hunt. Can you believe it? After all the excitement of the new adventures of the Bakery Bears, we have a story to finish. And that is our quest for the perfect afternoon tea. Now, when we left you last, we'd been and got cakes. And we tried them out when we got home, as I recall. We didn't actually try them out on the podcast. We'd been in Betty's.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So we've been in Betty's and we actually failed. We didn't do that quite in time. So today we're going to have to make an extra big effort to make sure that we get to every clue in time. Otherwise, I think there may be a forfeit for Kay. We need to know what the clue was.
Okay.
What is the clue?
I don't know.
Did you bring it?
Did I bring it?
Yes.
No.
Well, it's lucky I did then, isn't it?
Shall I read
Remind us what the clue is. Now, thanks to all of you who helped in the thread, in the treasure hunt thread, but also, Kay, you were sort of on the case pretty quick with this one.
I guessed this one, didn't I?
She's getting Sherlocky very quickly.
I am.
Go on in, tell us the clue.
Anne Bullen is the 18th century nickname for this lady, whose view is most surprising, if perhaps a little shady. Walk past the lake, cross the canal and venture through the tunnel, then look for Anne, who's waiting with the next clue in a funnel.
And I particularly liked it last time when you tried to get all sleuthy about the funnel bit.
Did I?
You did. And then we realised that it's probably just going to be rolled up into a funnel.
Oh, right.
You were trying to really theorise as to what the whole funnel thing was. So, let's dissect this clue. Well, you said straight away, and I think it was the lake, the canal and the tunnel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What did you say?
That it would be Fountains Abbey.
So guess where we are?
Guess where we are?
Yes, at last we have returned to Fountains Abbey. We're looking at the beautiful east window, and there's the huge Hubie Tower named after the abbot who built it, Marmaduke Hubie. Now, we first brought you here way back in episode 3. This is actually the guest quarters, and they are just stunning. It was actually our second ever favourite places to knit visit. But Fountains Abbey actually lies within the 800-acre Studley Royal Estate. Whilst what you see was built in the 18th century, around the time of Chatsworth House, and as you can see it's got equally stunning gardens, the original Studley Royal House had a long and interesting history. It was initially a medieval manor house inhabited from 1452 by the Mallory family. So Studley Royal was in existence at the same time as Fountains was in its prime, which I think is so interesting. But fast forward 700 years and there's a problem. Whilst these stunning gardens still exist, there's no house anymore. Sadly, it burnt down in 1946. But we're here with a task in hand, aren't we? So I think it's time that we got back to some treasure hunting.
Kay guessed it because of the lake, the canal and the tunnel, and these were put in by the Aislabys when they had the lovely big house up there. We covered this on Favourite Place to Knit, I think, it's a long time ago, maybe about 27 or 26. They had a lovely stately home up the top there, and they built all these lovely, very sort of Chatsworth-esque, trying to create things that you would come and promenade around and look at. And they put in the lake. There is a canal literally just down there, and the tunnel, which is really quite scary. So we're going to get through there, and we're going to see if we can find the next clue. The statue, which is right at the top, you can actually see it. I don't recall being able to see it from sat here before, or maybe we're sat in a different spot.
I can't see it.
But we can see the statue on the top of the hill, and the statue, it isn't actually Anne Bullen. That's who Anne Bullen refers to. It isn't actually Anne Bullen, but it was nicknamed Anne Bullen by the ladies who used to walk around the garden. So let's go see if we can find the next clue.
This is the water garden created by John Aislabie in 1718, and it's actually one of the best surviving water gardens in England. Now, Georgians loved to create a succession of beautiful views as they promenaded through their gardens. To me, it feels very much like the precursor to movies or TV programmes. It's the ultimate escapism. They studied their gardens with neo-Gothic castles, temples and cascades, all with the intention to excite and to entertain.
Come on. So that was the canal.
Finally, look at that cute dog.
Yeah, cute dog alert. We've got time to pick up cute dog alert.
Look.
What type of dog is that?
I don't know. Is
Oh,
it a
no, it's
chihuahua?
pointing again.
I'm not sure.
That's always bad.
Don't point.
So
I think it's a chihuahua. I'm not sure. Look how he's walking.
So we've got the lake, we've got the canal.
Yeah.
Now we have to find the tunnel.
Find the tunnel.
Let's go. The thing's changed. The statue's different.
Where?
Over there, you can't see it. Oh dear, we seem to have spotted a bit of a problem. Now we're on the opposite side of the water, just behind that far hedge. And those statues are different. We've not been here for quite a while, and immediately it's jumped out to both me and to Bryony that the statues which have always been there have all changed. Clearly there's some work going on here at Fountains, and the panic is beginning to set in that if one statue's changed, have they all? This is it.
Oh heavens, this is Strie.
So we're making our way up to the tunnel, and look at those trees. They're so Harry Potter-esque, really quite mysterious, and it really would have added to the excitement of the approach to this very dark tunnel.
Here it is. So this was built for posh Victorian ladies, just like Kay, to walk through. It gives themselves a little bit of a scare, because of course it was before the time of TVs, and so it was a bit of excitement. Should we have some excitement?
I can't speak, I'm so out of breath, I'm so unfit, it's just not funny.
We only have 7 minutes to go, we've got to find the clue.
Now look, there's one last glance at the serenity of the moon and crescent ponds before we head into the dark and frightening serpentine tunnel. This was designed to give guests of the Aislabees a gentle fright. It's the precursor to the scary movies of today, I think. It curves gently uphill to ensure right when you're in the middle, it's completely black. That's what gives this tunnel away, actually. It's not natural. It was carefully designed to be the perfect width across, with just enough darkness to frighten the Georgian ladies. And actually, if I'm honest, it doesn't just frighten Georgian ladies, it frightens everybody. It always gives you a little scare. I think it's the coldness as well. But here we are now, we've made it up to the high ride, and we're in for a little surprise.
This isn't normally open.
No, that's not. But I had a feeling the statue was in this bit here.
Yeah, well. Well, you can go in.
Look where we've got to. We reached one of the many follies of Studley Royal, and this is actually the first time in all our visits that tower up there, the Octagon Tower, is open for us to take a look around. So this is exciting stuff.
Wow. This is highly impressive. Unbelievable, look at that. It's like a folly, isn't it?
I wonder if that plasterwork was painted different colours at some point.
I wonder how many Victorian ladies have had the vapours in here.
So we're now making our way along the high ride from the folly, the beautiful Octagon Tower. And what is a folly? Well, it's described in the dictionary as a costly building with no purpose. And they were unbelievably popular with the Georgians. They put them in their gardens to make them look pretty. But we're getting close, and I can't see a statue.
Disaster. Kay spotted it. Actually, I saw it as soon as we came in. They've moved all the statues around.
Moved the statues all around.
And Bullen has gone. So we're in the vicinity of where a clue should be, because this is, you know, round about where it was. So it's got to be here somewhere. Whoever wrote this clue will have stashed it somewhere, most probably fairly on show. Kay, look. You will help me, yeah, help me out. Can't see anything. This is a disaster. Can you? Whoa! Stop the clock, stop the clock. With 2 minutes to go. Yes, grab it.
Okay, clue 2. Finally, your quest is very nearly at an end.
Ooh.
On a sweet and sticky challenge, I unfortunately must send. What is your favourite thing to eat? For Dan, after every meal. Now choose your favourite flavour and make sure that you don't steal.
Well, I know what my favourite thing to eat is.
What's Dan's? Bryony knows. What's Dan's favourite thing to eat? After
And it's
every
not
single,
beef jerky.
After every single meal, and also before every single meal.
Ice cream.
Actually, I bought you some beef jerky.
Yeah, I love it.
Beef
Beef
jerky.
jerky is my favourite. It's ice cream.
Ice cream.
And my favourite brand of ice cream is
The one from the farm shop.
Braymore.
Braymore.
And their parlour is just up the road. Dudes, we're going to Braymore Ice Cream Parlour. Let's go. Come on, come on. We're off.
Braymore, I think.
The ultimate quest. Yes, it's time to find out what our favourite flavour of ice cream is. And let me tell you, it's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
We shall say nothing
It's very
more.
unexpected.
Very, very unexpected.
And we brought some home and we've eaten it all.
But that's
I think
to come.
I ate most of it.
That's to come a little bit later on in the show. Now, Dexter Walcott, I know that you've been watching.
Is that Jamie's?
Yes. You've been walking backwards and forwards, casually looking over Jamie's shoulder, watching, haven't you? Haven't you? Just sit down and watch the show. You know you want to. Yes, it might be about knitting, but you enjoy it, don't you, Dexter?
Dexter, what a great name.
He's a total dude.
Is he?
Yes, she's knit him quite a few hats.
Is it her husband?
Yes. She posted some pictures and he looks like an absolute dude. Dexter, I think you should give knitting a go.
Yes.
Give it a try. Why not?
Go on, Dexter. Yeah. You can do it.
I think it's time for us to find out, Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
How amusing.
Yes.
Because yes, this is off my needles. However, it is not the completed pair. But it was the first sock of the one that the pair that I showed you before, the Easter sprinkles. Oh, it's lovely.
What's that heel?
It's the Hermione's Everyday heel.
Right.
That I just popped in.
Right.
Because it's really, I think, one of the best heels going. I love it's a garter edged Eye of Partridge. And it's just lovely. And the way that she picks up from that edge, I think it's just really nice. And it's also the Hermione's toe.
Right.
I always use that for my decreases. So yeah, and I think the yarn is just lovely. You know, it didn't do any sort of pooling really. Just really nice and speckled and lovely.
Subtle, I like subtle.
Yeah. I mean, I seem to be giving all of my socks just lately to Bryony because we're about the same shoe size now. So anything that I knit for me, I know will fit her, and she just loves them, doesn't she? She loves wearing her socks.
Well, that's good.
And she chooses
Like
a pair.
me.
She's got I gave her a little basket, so she's now got a little basket with all her socks in. She's got about 6 or 7 pairs, I think now, and she chooses a pair. You know, each time she gets dressed, she'll like match it to her outfits. I think that's really sweet. So these might go to her. I don't know. We'll see. So there we go.
I take your sock and I raise it.
So you've got to have 2 socks then if you're going to raise it.
Okay. Oh, the toe. What a pig's ear.
No, it's not. It's a different decrease.
Yeah, but I could have done a better job than that. Look. It's just
I
not.
mean, that's the nature of that decrease. You will get that little ladder going through it.
It's not the
very
ladder.
difficult.
It's more.
That's just
it's
how
lumpy.
the decrease.
That doesn't feel like I've knit that with an even tension.
I think it's okay. I think you're doing yourself an injustice.
All right, okay. Well, I mean, we'll see how the next one comes out, but it's the first Strie Sock. It's a wonderful pattern. And the reason why I wanted to show you this and talk about this just a little bit separately is just because I think that when you knit a sock on DPNs for the first time, it is such a different experience. That's not to say that there aren't times when I think, and it's good, I'm glad I've done this, because there are times when I think, I wish I was on Magic Loop. But I think that the point where the DPNs thing makes sense is when you get to this bit. As soon as you get to the heel turn, it all makes sense as to why you've been using your 4 needles as you come down, because there's just no messing around. It's just straight round and off you go. And I really liked that because I can't stand the changing stuff around and with Magic Loop it's such a pain. And you clearly are trying to get a square peg through a round hole because
I don't mind it.
It's a pain. It's so much easier just to carry on knitting. Well, of course you don't. You stick it all on one needle and then across you go. But I did it without any instruction or help or anything. And it's lovely doing a different toe because I've never done a different toe before, and that again is the whole point of this process, is trying new things and seeing what works and seeing what doesn't work. So doing that really was
and
great.
The difference was you didn't do a knit one in between, so the decreases were right next to each other, so it does look different but quite neat, I think.
So there is my sock. We've done this in the wrong order because I've got 2 things.
You have,
but you're the blocker for this. So
and the blocker. I'm going to put it on my head, you mean?
Yeah.
All right.
Look at this.
Yay.
Would you believe that ever in a month of Sundays that I would knit a hat that's slouchy?
Only a little bit.
Okay, but small steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
And look at the pom-pom.
And a pom-pom.
Made a big pom-pom.
It always... I think that the Declan's hat on its own, if you take the pom-pom off and you knit it like I normally knit them, I think it's a man's hat.
It's fairly, yeah, it's quite masculine, yeah.
Put a bit of slouch on it.
Add a pom-pom.
Add a pom-pom.
Beautiful.
And it becomes...
Let's put it
because
on.
the lines, the railway tracks lead up to the pom-pom.
Oh, yeah.
It's perfect. So this was my... Oh, look at it. You look so cute.
Oh, it's so cute.
It really is.
Oh, look at my fringe, everybody.
Goodness
Oh,
me, Kay, honestly, that's the nicest hat I've knit you.
look how cute.
It's just lovely. The colour's lovely. This was my You're My Hero Cal entry.
Isn't it sweet?
And I finished mine, which
Might
I
keep
think...
it on, it's cold. What is going on with the weather?
So, a lovely hat for my hero.
Aw.
Finished in time before the end of the Cal. I did it. I totally did
Dan
it.
did it. I'm a total failure.
I totally
aren't I,
did it. It's
with
the first time I've ever cast
If
something
I'd
on.
knit a hat, I would have finished it.
Oh, okay. It's the first time I've ever cast something on and finished it in time.
It's lovely. And look, this it kind of matches.
It kind of matches because...
Because look, I'm wearing my
What do you mean it kind of matches?
It sort of exact. Well, yeah.
What do you
because
mean when you say
because-
matches? Are you talking about the colours or the patterns?
No, the patterns.
Well, of course it matches.
And also, it's the same yarn base.
Right.
Malabrigo Rios.
The handbrake design was
Yeah, inspired by
inspired
the blanket.
and is supposed to accompany the blanket. You're supposed to put it both together.
And look, I've got them together. And this, this was an amazing gift.
It was a
from-
You're My Hero, and I got one too.
Yeah, I mean, it was from lovely Sarah. She won't mind me saying, I know, because I've asked her. But this was from lovely Sarah, and she knit one for me and one for you.
Yeah.
And mine's Malabrigo. Well, they were both Malabrigo Rios. This is English Rose, and yours was in Sandbank.
Yes.
Which is a beautiful sandy sort of colour. It's lovely. And honestly, Sarah, I've worn it pretty much every day since I got it. I'm not kidding. Pretty much every day I've had this on.
And I would never have knit myself a scarf.
And I
Kay
wouldn't
would
have
never
knit-
have knit me a
I
scarf.
wouldn't have knit myself
and
a
I was sort of
scarf
sad
either.
about that because, of course, the one I knit I gave to my brother, and having one has just been the best. I've also been wearing it.
Yeah, it has.
All the
And
time.
you know, we opened the parcel, and I fully couldn't speak for about 10 minutes. I was just looking at Dan and going like this. I just couldn't comprehend that someone would do that.
The scarf that
You know,
took me
that-
2 years to knit.
She knit two.
She knit two in a
two
month.
of them in like less than a month. And yeah, Sarah, there's a few Sarahs out there. I know we've got a lot of Sarah friends.
Yes.
It's brilliant.
Yes.
We love all the Sarahs.
Yes.
But yeah, Sarah Hepworth. Everybody knows Sarah Hepworth. I'll take this off now because it is a little bit warm now. I mean, what hairdresser? What are you gonna do with this hair?
Please
Hairdresser?
be quiet. I want some ice cream.
Get rid of these grey hairs here too, please. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to return to our treasure hunt. It's all come down to this. What a journey it's been. And now we are in the home straight. So let's get over, back to us, en route to Bryonybear and try some ice cream.
So we've travelled about 30 miles up the road from where we were at Fountains Abbey, and we have reached our destination. It is the Bryonybear ice cream parlour, and this is my favourite ice cream.
It is.
So our mission is to get in and find our favourite flavour. Now, I think it should probably be a joint favourite flavour. Oh no, that would make it
no.
tricky because you just like vanilla.
Yeah.
So me and Bryony can decide on the favourite flavour.
Okay, well, I'm hoping. You see, I'm always dreaming that one day I will find Raspberry Ripple ice cream again. You never ever see Raspberry Ripple, do you?
Yes, I know, Raspberry Ripple is gorgeous. You've looked and they do have raspberry ice cream.
Did you have raspberry?
So would you try raspberry?
Yeah.
Right.
I'll try raspberry. I'm not sure about raspberry.
Don't go picking me up on my English. I don't pick you up on your English.
Look at my hair. My hair's all falling out and everything.
So it's time to get some ice cream, and then we'll see where the next clue's going to take us. Now, I do know that Jervo is really close to here, so who knows? We may well end up there. I know.
Oh, I hope so.
Well, that'd mean in one episode we've been to the 2 abbeys that we discussed in our Abbey playoff for favourite place to knit. But let's go try some ice cream. We've made it! This is hallowed ground. It's our first time ever at the place where my favourite ice cream is made. As you can see there, this is Bryonybear. Started by Brian Moore in 1984 after milk quotas were introduced. He needed a way to use his spare milk, and ice cream was the option he chose. Now 300,000 people a year stop at this beautiful little farm just up the road from Jervo Abbey to get their frozen fix. The choice available is just insane, so we've picked our 5 favourites. We're going to try them all, and then we shall crown a winner. Oh my goodness. Oh
We've got several.
my goodness. So we have raspberry, vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, and licorice and blackcurrant.
Licorice and blackcurrant.
So watch that finger, dude. That one right there. Cool. So I'm going to start with the licorice and blackcurrant. This looks immense.
Oh my lord. Oh my god. That's amazing.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord. That's astounding.
Can I try it?
Yeah, here you go.
That is yumminess.
That's immense.
That is the nicest thing I've ever put in my mouth. Okay. Moving on.
Brilliant.
This is strawberry.
Strawberry.
Don't worry, we won't have too much of it, dude.
Because this is Bryony's.
We won't have too much of it.
That's pretty good.
Is that good?
Hold me. Seriously.
Just take a bit.
I just, you know, that's stunning. Okay.
I'm not trying the chocolate one, obviously.
Raspberry. It doesn't look like raspberry.
It doesn't look like raspberry, no. It's pale.
Look, here we go.
It's a mild flavour. I'm not sure I'm getting the raspberry.
I'm not getting a lot of raspberry. That's not so hot.
Dad is going to try the chocolate.
This tastes better than out of tubs. That's really nice. It's really nice. Try this.
Well, I know what the vanilla's like, don't I?
Don't tell them. They don't know. Well, that's lovely.
It's
but
lovely.
This conversation ended in the first scoop.
That's fabulous.
Is mind-blowing, isn't it? Oh my. I mean, just look at it. This is our favourite ice cream, and this is Bryonybear, licorice and blackcurrant.
It's amazing.
Stunning. Now we need to find our next clue. And we have some of our favourite flavour. Yes. Although I have eaten a little bit too much of it. Bryony, clue. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Quick, get it! There it is, quick before it gets wet. Get the clue. Get in the car, get in the car. Bryony found the clue. We have the clue.
I'm wet.
Read it.
Okay.
Open the clue.
Final
clue. How exciting.
It's hailstone.
Oh my goodness. We got in the car just in
really
time.
did.
Oh no, we've got to have a picnic in this.
Oh no.
Oh no, hopefully it'll pass over.
Stop, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Read the clue.
This is it. Yes, finally it's time to prep your tea. So grab the salad, pasties and cake, but the destination's free. There is just one place logically that this great quest could cease. It's time for tea with Adam, where you can all enjoy the peace. Well, I know.
How do you know?
Because Adam must be Adam Sedber.
Oh!
Well, you're always going on about Adam.
Look at you go. It is time to go to Jervo Abbey
Yay.
and have our picnic.
And I think
yes.
it stopped, actually.
Thank goodness. Shall we go? Let's go. So after 4 episodes, is it 4 episodes of Treasure Hunt, I think? We've finally reached our goal. And who would have thought... Oh look, there's some serious walkers. Wowzers. Who would have thought that we would end up back here? And you can see now, actually, it's going to be lovely, considering we only spoke about this. Oh look, even more serious walkers.
Gosh, there is.
Yeah. We only spoke, didn't we, just recently about our all-time favourite places to knit. This was our top abbey, and it is really our go-to place. And you're going to get to see it at its best, I think, today, so long as the rain stays off. And what you are going to see, which is amazing, is lambs. I see lammies just over there. Yay, Bryony.
Got all the cows. Oh, look, here's a baby cow.
Oh, look.
Look at it. Oh, hello,
Who's ready for a picnic?
baby cows.
Yay.
There's another baby cow.
Oh, I think you just coughed.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can see. He must have been choking on his grass.
Let's go, it's picnic time.
But before we make our way down to Juror Abbey, we need to pop in the amazing shop, which really bumped up the score, if you remember when Kay was talking about this in our favourite places to knit playoff. It's got everything from great drinks, cups of tea, pickles, the lot. And so we begin a walk we've taken so many times before, but always brings a real inner calm. It makes me think of the story of the founding of Juror Abbey. 13 monks were travelling from Byland Abbey, where we visited actually in episode 4. It's a good 20 miles from here, and en route they got lost. Very close to where we walk now, a vision of the Virgin Mary appeared before them and guided them to safety. They were so taken by the experience, they persuaded the local lord to give them the land, and the abbey was formed. But what did the abbey look like? Well, this is the floor plan, and it's virtually identical to every other Cistercian abbey we've ever taken you to. This is wonderful to look at, but it's hard to imagine what it actually looked like without this. This is a superb model found in the cafe we've just left. You can see everything from the huge church in the background to the cloister in the middle with the outer ranges in the foreground. But what's left of this beautiful building? So we're now approaching the church in the direction that we looked at the floor plan and also the model. And that there is the main entrance. Look at it. It's just beautiful. You would have walked through there into the Lay Brothers Choir for your services. Now this is another wonderful part which I just adore. Those there are cupboards where books would have been kept for the young novices studying in the cloister. But the reason we love Juror so much are sites like this. A staircase leading to nowhere. Of course it would have been complete when Juror was built and it would have led up to a second floor, but now nothing. Corridors like this with just beautiful flowers. The true joy of Juror Abbey is every time you visit it you feel like you're discovering it for the first time.
Well, we made it. This is very exciting. We're sat in the cloister. This is actually where they used to sit and do their studies. So there'll be lots of novices sat here learning all about
Very nice.
life. It is.
So I've just cast on a sock head hat
It's looking good.
because it's just something I will literally keep in my bag.
Yeah. Cool.
And then I know I won't ever have to remember to take knitting because I do quite often forget.
I'm getting hungry. Let's go have a picnic. We've made it. It's been such an adventure, and who would have ever have thought that we'd end up here? Finally, after too much ice cream, I've now got to have the best cake ever. This is a brand new invention.
I made a cake. Well, I recently made Dan a Black Forest Gatto because you've been asking me, hadn't you? And the sponge for a Black Forest Gatto, or certainly the recipe I found, is a fatless sponge.
So we're dieting.
And it was lovely, wasn't it?
Mm.
It was really light, and I think the idea with using a fatless sponge is because you put cream in it, you then have to refrigerate it. And if you put a normal kind of Victoria sponge in the fridge, it would go kind of hard because of the butter in it. But because there's no butter in this, it stays light and soft even in the fridge. So I
and
then
it gets
said,
better every day.
Yeah, I then said, oh, well, maybe I should just make a plain version of it and put lemon curd and whipped cream in it, which is what this is in Bryony's old baby bowls that I can't get rid of because I'm too sentimental.
I like them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. So it's a plain fatless sponge vanilla flavoured. I put some vanilla extract in it, and then there's whipped cream and lemon curd.
And I can tell you it's the nicest cake I've ever eaten.
It is really, really nice.
It's totally delicious. And in the most perfect spot. They had said that it was going to get really cold, and yes, we are sat here dressed up.
We probably look bonkers because it's sunny.
But it's not.
It is quite cold.
Special announcement.
Yes.
The treasure hunt will be back in December.
Will it?
Yes.
Oh,
I've had a tip-off.
right.
We're going on a quest for a good old-fashioned family Christmas.
We are.
But you'll have to tune in for our episodes in December. I think it starts the final episode in November and then runs in for 2 episodes in December. And it will be super fun.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a World War II plane.
That's a hurricane.
You'll be able to hear it but not see it. It's totally a World War II plane. It's not a Spitfire. I think
It's a hurricane.
Right. Yeah.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
Wow. Thank you so much for watching The Treasure Hunt. It's been just the most fun to do.
It has.
Next week, we shall be discussing custard creams, Kay.
We didn't have a discussion.
We did
about
have a
it?
discussion about this.
Oh, right. I'm going to say that's what I wanted to do.
Because we spoke about it.
Oh, I didn't realise we'd spoken about it. I didn't realise we had already spoken about it.
Yes.
And I wanted to do custard creams next.
Well, that's funny, because that's what we decided we were going to do.
Right, okay, cool.
So yes, we promised you we were going to finish our treasure hunt. We now have. So the new adventures of the Bakery Bears can continue in earnest. But before we do that, it's time for us to have a very deep discussion about the powers of the custard cream.
Yeah.
So next time, custard creams, but then back on the new adventures of the Bakery Bears, the episode after. So thank you so much for watching the treasure hunt. So it's goodbye from the wonderful Juror Abbey. And yeah, we will see you soon for more treasure hunts.
That was the nicest thing I've ever put in my mouth.
Oh my gosh, it was so delicious. I can't even tell you.
Now, Bryony was getting a little bit excited, so the camera work wasn't some of her best work. But I think you got the whole sort of picture of how exciting that was.
Yeah.
We got that as a joke. We thought that's going to be disgusting.
But saying that, we love licorice and blackcurrant sweets, and
But it's all right saying it in hindsight. When we saw that on the board,
it didn't.
we didn't
think we'll have that. No.
When we were stood in the queue, you were saying, "I'm just going to have the vanilla,"
Did, yeah.
and she ended up trying everything apart from the chocolate.
Yeah.
It is just legendary, and I know my ice cream now. You know, I've been eating it heavily since.
Yeah. It's really lovely ice cream, and it's got a proper. It tastes like proper ice cream.
Well,
not like Mr. Whippy type ice cream.
Brian and Brenda Moore were they were older when they started doing this. They'd have adopted an old-fashioned approach to making this, and they've never changed the recipe.
No, and it's the place where we were. It's right on the farm. You're right on the farm, so it's travelled no distance at all. Literally from that building to that building, and I love that.
Guernsey cows.
Yeah. It's beautiful, really, really lovely ice
So
cream.
stunning ice cream, and what an amazing picnic to finish with. Our afternoon tea picnic
We
with
did.
the
We
most.
had a lovely time, actually, didn't we?
We totally did, with the most epic cake ever.
Oh, that was good cake. I need to make another one of those.
And what a journey just getting to that cake was. Kay made me a Black Forest Gatto, which got better with time.
Okay.
It was lovely by the end.
Yeah, it was okay.
Amazing to think that you can make a cake that normally you make a cake, it gets worse.
Because the flavours absorbed into the sponge,
Yeah.
didn't they? Yeah.
Totally, just lovely. And then Kay came up with the amazing idea of putting the lemon curd in. It's just a business.
It was lovely.
But how wonderful to think that just a couple of episodes ago we were debating our favourite monasteries, and amazing that totally by chance we end up in the final treasure hunt back at those 2 monasteries that we debated. It's just wonderful to be back at Fountains. Shame about the statues.
Oh gosh, they'd moved everything. What's that all about?
It's been the same
We got to the end of the
since
tunnel, and I said, "Where's the statue?" It was there the last time.
Oh dear.
And then we saw it somewhere else.
Oh dear, oh dear. But also, it's the first time we've been back at Juror since episode 2. Yes, Juror featured fairly heavily in the first Hidden Histories of Great Britain, but it's the first time on a podcast that we've been back there. And Gold Plus patrons, your special edition of that treasure hunt will be coming out in the next 24 hours. I'm so glad that you guys enjoyed the special edition versions of the new Adventures of the Bakery Bears that we started. As you'd enjoyed that so much, I'm putting out a special edition of this one as well, with much more footage, all the outtakes, and all the links for all the research that we do before we go to these places. So that'll be out in the next 24 hours. Now, for just a moment, I'm changing Wake Up Carl to Wake Up Steve. Steve.
Which Steve?
Steve in Somerset.
Oh, why?
Would you believe it?
He'll
No.
not be watching.
No.
Not our Steve.
Not our Steve. Well,
a different Steve in Somerset.
Maybe he is our Steve. Yes, Steve, he's been on night shift. So we'll let him off. But Steve sits and watches, and I know that he loves the history bits.
Oh, brilliant.
So hopefully, we should have done the Wake Up Steve before this bit started, shouldn't we? But hopefully, Steve, you've been awake and you've seen that and you've enjoyed it.
A different Steve in Somerset.
Steve,
That's so strange because...
I know, that's why it caught my eye.
Yeah.
Steve in Somerset, who sits and watches with his good lady.
Oh.
So, hello Steve, and hope you're wide awake now. Yeah. It's time for a huge Endy Bits.
Oh gosh, yes.
And it's huge because it's time for some prizes.
Prizes?
Now, while Kay's getting ready for the prizes,
let me get organised.
Let's just touch on the fog along. Runners, I can confirm when I learn how to speak that you managed, what do you mean you? We managed 2,229 miles. And where have we reached? We've actually reached somewhere that the knitters got to a little while ago. We're in Nok Kundu in Pakistan. Knitters.
Gosh, that sounds like somewhere in Ireland.
I know. Knitters, you managed 3,936 miles. Do you see, runners, how it's just getting that little bit closer? Oh yes. And what I've noticed is certain running groups have really started to put the boot down now the weather's getting good. One group in particular, Group 1, 670 miles in 1 month, which is amazing. Knitters, you covered 3,936 miles in April, and you're in a place, Maynigilgino, in Russia.
Good heavens.
It's on the coast looking out on the Bering Straits, and I've tried to get pictures, but I can't find any. There's clearly a bit of a lockdown on Google Images for Russian places. Let's get on with these Endy Bits.
Yes. Endy Bits, right. So we've got 2 KALs, knit-alongs that are finished at the end of April. So we'll do the Wow KAL first, the Wonders of the World knit-along. I've got 3 prizes and I drew from numbers 2 to 54. And the first winner is for these. These were the My Yarn Story minis that were very kindly donated. And they're beautiful. I've got a set of these and I have knit a couple into a project and they're lovely. Beautiful colours. So the minis go to number 9. It's Maggie in Somerset. We've got a Somerset theme.
Yeah.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maggie in Somerset, she is Maghar1, Maghar1 on Ravelry. So Maggie, these are yours. I love your name, Maggie. So everybody that's won a prize, can you all just either PM me on Ravelry or Instagram, I don't mind, with your full name and your address, and I'll get all your prizes posted out. Okay, so Maggie, those are yours. How lovely. Going to Somerset, isn't it spooky how things like that happen?
Yeah.
Second prize, this goes to number 24, and number 24 is Jamie in Chicago. She's Hayes Mum 25 on Ravelry, and Jamie, it's Jamie Ganji. If you listen right to the end of our podcast, you'll know there's a song that goes along with the music at the end, and it's Jamie that sings the song.
And wrote the words.
And wrote the
came
words.
up with the melody.
Did the whole thing. Yeah, did the whole thing. So it's lovely Jamie. She's got the most fabulous voice. So Jamie, and look what you've won. You've won a skein of my yarn. Oh, so excited. It's the toasted tea cake that I dyed up. So Jamie, that's yours. You can knit some tea cake socks or shawl or whatever you want. So I've probably got your address, but just remind me. Just send me a message, would you, and just remind me, just in case you happen to have moved. I want to be sure. So Jamie, that's yours. And then the last prize for the Wow KAL is the prize. I've not got it to show you. It's a bag from Stitch in You Bags on Etsy, and it's Ryan in Kansas. And she very kindly said that she would donate one of her bags, but she will send it direct, which is brilliant because it saves the shipping to other countries and things like that. So the winner of that bag was number 11, and that's Brenda in Canada. And she's Firefly on Ravelry. Spelt F-Y-R-E-F-L-Y-E, Firefly on Ravelry. So Brenda, I was trying to think of the best way of doing this. Contact me just to let me know that you've seen this. And then what I'll do is I will give your Ravelry details to Ryan, and then you can maybe just have a conversation between the two of you and just decide how you're going to do it. But let me know first of all you've seen this, and then I'll put you in touch with Ryan and you can sort out your bag.
And the Wow KAL now has moved to Shannon.
Yes, North America.
Yes, so
Yeah.
Shannon currently is...
And I think she's the final one, is that
No.
right? Oh, is there another one?
Yes.
What continent is there?
There's South America.
Oh gosh, of course.
Yes.
Tunis.
Yes.
Right.
Don't forget about that.
Well, I wouldn't forget
I've been looking
about-
forward to that one.
The You're My Hero KAL, which also ended at the end of last month. So I drew prizes for this one, and this was numbers 2 to 78. And we've got 3 prizes again. First prize was some hand spun from Deb, lovely Deb at Font and Fibre. And this is a merino sparkle, so I think it must just be merino with tons of sparkle. I mean, I don't know if you can see the sparkle, I hope you can. It's just so super sparkly. And I don't know what the yardage is actually, but it looks quite high yardage. Kind of looks like a DK-ish weight. So that skein of hand spun goes to number 71, and that's Deb. And Deb is Rose Bob. No, it's not Deb.
Legendary. Deb, you've won your own yarn.
You won your own yarn, Deb. Oh, what a fool. I'm reading my notes and clearly I can't read. The yarn is from Deb. The winner is Rose. She's Rose Bob on Ravelry, number 71. So Rose, same thing, send me a message on Ravelry, Instagram or whatever, full name and address, and I'll get that sent off to you.
Yippee.
The second prize is from lovely Nicole C. Mendez in Germany. She donated 2 skeins of yarn actually. This is the one we're using for the You're My Hero. Self-striping, it's fantastic. Soft sock, it's lovely yarn, really, really plump and squishy. The winner of this was number 28, and that's Jamie in Massachusetts. And she's Knitting Socks on Ravelry. I think that's a brilliant name. She's Knitting Socks. So brilliant that you've won some sock yarn. So Jamie, if you can just again message me, I'll get that sent out to you. The last winner, it's actually a pattern. It's a pattern that was donated very kindly to us by, she's Knitter Scarlet on Ravelry, she's Kath, and the pattern is called Vanilla with a Twist. So we've got this pattern, Vanilla with a Twist, if you want to go and have a look at it on Ravelry, it's a really pretty pattern. So thank you, Kath, for that. And the winner of that is Carrie it just says USA, Carrie in the USA, and she is Beauty and the Sheep.
Whoa.
If you can just contact me and let me know that you've seen this, and then I'll get Kath then to send you the pattern over. Okay, so brilliant, yay!
Yippee.
I wanted to just chat about the Opal knit along. Ooh, so exciting! People are buying Opal yarn everywhere. It's brilliant.
That
I
is
love
our
it.
next knit along, isn't it?
Our next knit along, which starts on the 25th of May. We're having an Opal knit along, so it'll run till the end of June. So nice sort of 5 weeks. Plenty of time to knit yourself a lovely pair of socks. I've got the prizes. And these were very kindly donated from lovely Sarah Hepworth. She said it was okay for me to let you know they were from her. She sent 2 skeins of Opal. So Sarah, thank you so much. It's so thoughtful. So it's 2 of the yarns from the My Sock Design range, the new one that's just sort of come out recently. So we've got this beautiful one. It's called Inca, I think, by the looks of it, which is very sweet. And this one's called Muntermatcha. I'm so sorry. German words just sometimes sound so funny to an English-speaking person, I think. It's just a strange word. But that one is these gorgeous blues and reds. It's quite a patriotic colourway, I think, that. Do you know, it's coming up to 4th of July, isn't it? And I think that would make a great 4th of July pair of socks. And then this is the Inca, which is gorgeous, purples and greens and oranges and reds and a bit of pink. I've got 2 lovely prizes for that knit along. Thank you so much, Sarah, for those. And I also, look what I did. Can you see my lovely basket? Do you see all the minis? I thought, Bryony loves my scrappy socks that I've got. And I said, oh, do you know what? I could gather all together, all my little Opal minis. These were from the advent calendar I got, not last Christmas, Christmas before. You know, I've still got leftovers. And I was also in an Opal swap a little while ago. Lovely Amber helped me with that. There was an Opal swap going on, and so I've got loads of these lovely Opal minis as well. And then I've also got leftovers from socks that I've knit. So there's the Harry Potter one there. There's Dan's socks that I recently knit in there. So it's all of my Opal minis, leftovers, scraps, whatever. And I thought I'd knit Bryony a scrappy pair of Opal socks. So I've got them all in this lovely basket. Oh, it's just so nice to look at. And then I was chatting with Sasha the other night, and she's like, oh, what do you think about this Opal yarn for the knit along? Do you like it? And I was like, oh, I really love that one. Showing me an Opal yarn is just like the worst thing you possibly could do. So I went looking, and I actually found it in a shop. And it's this one. It's a Fresh and Juicy, which again is a recent range, and I do have a couple of skeins of this, but not this one. And this one is the colourway 9367, and it's pinks and turquoise and purple. Oh, it's so lovely. So I had to get that one. And then of course I couldn't just get one, and I saw this one. And it's one from the Moments range, and it's Moments of Love. And I just thought, oh, I'm just soppy, aren't I? I'll just get that one. And it's pretty colours. So I got that one as well. But I've got these from a shop that I found. Never used it before, never heard of it before. It's really fabulous. So I just wanted to let you know about it. It's called the KnittingSquirrel.com. It's a lady called Nicolette. And I only ordered these. When were we chatting, Sasha? It was like Friday or Saturday. And it's now Tuesday, and I got them yesterday from Belfast. I couldn't believe it. Fantastic service. The shop is brilliant. I would really recommend you go and have a look at it, the KnittingSquirrel.com. And she also does a really lovely blog. On her website, there's a link to her blog. So I thought I'll go and have a look at that. And there's some really lovely blog posts about mitered square blankets and sock knitting and all things. It was just really, really interesting. So I would say go and have a look at the shop, definitely, and also go and have a look at the blog. It was really lovely. I saw this yarn. Well, I didn't see it. I've knit this yarn into my cowl, and the base really intrigued me. I loved knitting with it. I thought the base was beautiful and the colour was gorgeous. And then it appeared on another podcast I was watching. I can't remember which one now, and it just triggered my memory, and I thought, I'm going to go and look at that shop. The shop is Whimsy, WHIMZY.co.uk, and the yarn base is called Sokusu O. And it's actually 100% superwash merino, so there's no nylon. But you get 115 grams and it's 380 metres. So it's a really heavy skein, it's a really tight twist, you know, there's a lot of yarn in there. And it's just beautiful. The colourway I got was Prairie Dusk, and it's just these gorgeous soft tones. It's really, really pretty. This bit's my favourite bit here. There's like this lavender bit. It's really pretty. It's a really tight twist. You said, didn't you, when you looked at it? Can you see this bit here, how springy it is and curly? The twist is bonkers. And it reminds me of Socks That Rock, because that's 100% merino, isn't it, with a really tight twist. And I think their skeins are quite heavy. So I wonder if it's the same base. I don't know, of course. I'm just surmising. So I'm really interested to try that, and I think it will make a beautiful pair of socks. So I got that one. And then the last thing was, I had a lovely parcel from Gail.
Yeah.
President Gail.
Yeah.
She sent me a parcel, and I just wanted to show you one of the things that was in there. She sent me a candy skein. Never had candy skein. I was so excited. So, beautiful yarn from Candy Skein, and the colour is Raspberry Orange Sorbet. Oh, looky. And I think that will make fantastic socks as well. I'm kind of tempted to make socks with it, just because it's so pretty, isn't it?
So that's it. The treasure hunt is finished. We can now get on earnest with the new adventures of the Bakery Bears.
That's still not right.
Get on in earnest with the new adventures of the Bakery Bears. We can now get on earnest.
Poor Ernest.
Is anyone out there called Ernest? I hope so.
That's another great name.
It is a great name. So the new adventures of the Bakery Bears will carry on, not next episode, but the episode after, because next episode is the return of Biscuit Banter. And what's even more exciting is we've just established we've been doing our Cooking the World series, and we never did Cooking the World England, which is where we started. So the next Cooking the World will be Cooking the World England. It'll be out in the next 2 weeks, ready for the next episode of the Bakery Bears podcast, because we will be eating...
Can we say?
Custard creams!
Custard creams. And they are the most delicious biscuits you will ever taste. So we thought it'd be brilliant if we could put that out, and
absolutely.
You know, all of our patrons can...
Silver Plus patrons, look out for the next Cooking the World episode, which will be out. It'll be out on a Thursday. Probably not next week, probably the week after. But just keep your eyes peeled. So you'll be able to make the custard creams.
To make them.
And then you could eat the custard creams with us whilst you watch episode 75.
They're not difficult, and they are the most fantastic biscuits ever.
So we will be trying and dunking and analysing and looking into the history of the most brilliant biscuit ever.
So get yourself some custard creams for the if you just want to buy some.
That's all to come in the next episode of the Bakery Bears podcast. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to get my hair cut now.
She is indeed.
Oh.
So she absolutely is. So next time you see her, she will have had her hair done. So thank you so much for watching. Have a great 2 weeks. Get lots of knitting done. And we'll see you then for the next episode of the Bakery Bears.
Yay!
Bye.
Who's it sitting and knitting? It's Dan and Kay, the Bakery Bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting for Dan and Kay, the Bakery Bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern and get yourself a Bakery Bear. Find yourself in a castle while watching the Bakery Bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the Bakery Bears. What's on your shelf or what's in